Hello, welcome back. Hope you had a nice lunch. We had a nice jacket potato and a good chinwag, as we all do in the little cafe here. So I hope you're all ready for a fantastic masterclass we've got today. So we have got wonderful items on the show today. The big thing that we have is the Belle Countryside Collection that we have, which is going to be giving you a 40% saving on the whole collection. So you've got loads and loads of bits and pieces in here. So you've got a mixture of dies, stamps, and also your flower forming foam. I always have trouble with that, and your cardstock in there as well. So lots and lots of things in here for a really, really good price. So you're going to be making a 40% saving on this. So it's well worth popping it into your basket. Now, all of these tones we've been talking about, these kind of sort of vintagey kind of tones with those sort of dusky pinks, that kind of sagey green, they're going to mix and match and work really, really well with some other paper pads that we've got on the show. So we don't have the paper pad, the Belle Countryside paper pad in this collection because it's already sold out, but we've got other things that are going to work really well with that. So if I show you the bits and pieces you're going to get in this collection, you've got this fabulous floral lace embossing folder here, really, really lovely. This is going to work fantastically with your Centura Pearl card or with your ordinary card, and then you can sort of ink and get that beautiful sort of design in there. Then we've got the ornate lace. Now, if you watched the show earlier on, I was talking about making this into a crown. I didn't have time. I'm going to have a go in the next break, but I am also altering a dress at the same time, so I might not have time to make that into a crown, but this I think is a really beautiful die. You'll be able to get a lot of use out of that. Then you've got your Lumières and Lanterns stamp collection. Beautiful. Oh, sorry, losing my voice there. Beautiful little sort of lanterns that you could have in your garden. Great for if you can have a barbecue this year or a little evening party in the garden with those sentiments in there as well. Then you've got the really fabulous Equine Elegance stamp and die set. This is going to be so useful for lots and lots of different things. And I just think this really sort of screams out for a little girl that's sort of horse obsessed. You could also alter this and make it look more like a unicorn if you wanted to. So you've almost got that kind of fantasy look to that. So that is your stamp and die set. Then you have your statement floral. So again, a stamp and die set with that very, very pretty flower there. But you can also cut into that and just use perhaps the foliage for other designs. Then you've got your Grande frame or Grande frame, which you saw Debbie using in one of her projects earlier on. Really nice large frame. And that works very, very well if you're going to be using that for some kind of wedding invitation or something similar. And obviously those kind of hues that we've got in there will also work with sort of like that romantic kind of feel. Then you've got your country home stamp set, beautiful for sort of retirement or new homes, that kind of thing. Really lovely thing to do. Then you've also got your die set. So these are your dies for your using with your flower making foam, flower forming foam, but you can of course use that with your ordinary card to create some really pretty embellishments. You've got your foam here, and also you've got your cardstock, again in these sort of really pretty tones. So we've got sort of like putty colours and sort of like a very dark, almost like a sort of a maroony kind of colour, and then sort of dark greens as well. So this is £43.99 platinum price, or $57.59. I'm not on my own. I have the lovely Debbie here, and Debbie's going to show us some samples, aren't you, Debbie?
I certainly am. I love this collection. It's really beautiful, and I mean really beautiful. It's got some lovely elements about it. So if we look on here, it's got stamps and dies, probably more than we've done in most collections. So these beautiful flowers that you can see around the side, the hanging lanterns there, all looks really pretty. Used with lots of things that you've got in your stash already. I love the fact that we've got the foam that go with the foam flowers. And remember, even though you've got the foam and the flowers, use your other dies that you've got in your collection to create them. That beautiful horse is just incredible. So you can use him as that topper and the forefront of your card. We used this die earlier on in the show, and we'll use it again throughout these next couple of hours, but again using that beautiful. Now that looks lovely because that's just using it as a topper rather than adding on to anything, so absolutely gorgeous. Similar one again what we've done this morning with having that beautiful what Becky calls is her crown, onto the front of those. And I know we're being a bit mean because obviously all this collection has been done with the paper pad, but you do still have that block colour cardstock in there, and it will really work well with lots of other paper pads we've got, especially the vintage butterflies and especially the Country Lane paper pad as well. It's all going to go really lovely with that. But yeah, beautiful samples, and so nice that we can still be able to get this collection at such a good price.
Agree. We've also got some pads in this collection, well, not in this collection, that are available for you to get. So these will work really well with that collection. So these are our 12 by 12 pads. So this is Country Lane. So you can see all those kind of pretty colours, those pretty designs there. They're all going to work beautifully with that collection and all of those dies. So if I flick through, you'll be able to see. I'm always doing this the wrong way around. I'm going to do it this way, then you can see better. You can see you've got double-sided papers here, so you've got more sort of muted, understated designs on the rear of these very sort of quite busy florals, and they're quite large as well. So these are great for scrapbooking, great for sort of bag making. If you're going to be making sort of little gift bags as well, that would work really well. But really, really beautiful in all those pretty colours. And you've also got some of these wood effect designs here as well, which I think are really quite useful if you're making cards that you don't want to be too floral. Perhaps you're making cards for gentlemen and you want something that's a little bit sort of more masculine. So this is £11.55 or $13.95. The next one we have is the vintage butterflies. So this again is going to work really well with the collection that we've given you, that Belle Countryside. So really, really pretty, great for fussy cutting, these designs. And again, you know, we've got all sorts of different designs in here. Sort of more muted sort of background kind of tones here, as well as those very pretty patterns in there. Again, a 12 by 12, you've got 36 double-sided pages in here, all for £10.19 or $11.52. And then the final one we have for you is the Secret Garden. Again, really lovely, beautiful. I love the fact that we've put some kind of manuscript paper in here. I think that looks really, really nice. It's got a very kind of vintage feel to it when you've got manuscript paper in there. Again, double-sided, 12 by 12 pages and 36 sheets. So you can see all those beautiful colours and designs. Really lovely, and kind of like almost like that kind of sepia tone that you get with sort of vintage things. Like that one with the irises is really stunning, and a few with sort of gold embellishments here and there as well. So great if you're going to be using your gilding flakes with these. So again, £10.19 or $13.56. Definitely worth taking advantage of the discount you're going to be getting on those. But you're going to be doing a couple of demos for us now, aren't you?
Absolutely,
Exciting.
Yes. I love that. That last pad, it looks like spot foiling, but it's not foiling, it's just gold ink, but it looks amazing.
Yeah, it does, really good.
It's so effective. Right, let's ease you in gently. It is a masterclass. Let's start off with just a little bit of gentle colouring, doing a really simple card and not using anything but the horse. So this one is just beautiful. You're getting your stamp set and you're getting the dies. For me, Becky, just having these stamps in here, which I absolutely love. I'm going to bring, in fact, I've got the, oh, it's on a different one, but I will show you as we go in. But these are beautiful, the script that are on these stamps, and they look amazing. In fact, that's back to front, isn't it? Which is, oh, no, there we go. Look, let's do it that way. There, you can see it there. I don't know why I didn't think
that is
just
really
breathe
pretty, isn't it?
Really lovely font, yeah, and they're so usable. So I really love the fonts on these. Really beautiful. Right, so let's bring it. Oh, I've already dirtied my piece of card. It's because the stamp's already dirty. So let's just pop that on there and then bring those in. I can't moan at anyone for that because none of us clean our stamps. They all just go back in the packet.
Does it matter if you don't clean your stamps?
Not really, but if you come to place them and you've placed them in the wrong place, it can leave a mark like this one, so you can see on the board where it'll give you the imprint of the horse already. But so no, not really. What I tend to do is sometimes just have a scrap piece of tissue or kitchen towel and just stamp it a few times, and that cleans off the ink, so it won't transfer. It won't harm it. Your ink pads won't harm it. Some of the ink pads, depending on what colour, may dye them, but it doesn't affect the usage of your stamp. So let's do that, we'll pop our back into place again. I always press down on the cross, just in case you miss any. You can then just walk your fingers round, just making sure you get that beautiful stamped image. Look at that, absolutely perfect every time. And if you didn't, it doesn't matter. You would just re-ink your stamp and go back in, and you can ink up your beautiful horse. So let's pop that
Sometimes
back.
the temptation with stamping is to push down really, really hard, isn't it?
Yes.
And that's not the way to go.
Not at all. And actually, it's a really good point, Becky, because it puts a lot of people off stamping. We have no end, or I have no end of people asking why they can't get a good stamped image. And actually, even people that are really experienced in stamping, and I don't class myself as an experienced stamper, I just know how to stamp, and the tools make us good at what we do. But so many people have struggled. My first part of stamping, because I didn't stamp when I joined Crafters Companion because I couldn't. I never had good experiences. I could never get a clear image. Ink pads as well weren't very good, so we didn't have the best ink pads on the market, but the industry was still growing, it was still learning. And we also then bought in the rocker blocks, and rocker blocks totally changed the way I think. I love rocker blocks even now, but you can still, if sometimes you put an ink pad on, it can be, it doesn't always stick well to the stamps. You can stamp it, and actually you'd have to throw that away because you couldn't re-ink that. Some people are very clever and use a pen and can fill in the gaps, but when you've got the stamping platform, you never have to worry about that again, because you can just stamp time and time again over the image, and you just get a really beautiful imprint every single time. Right, the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to bring in the Illustrator pens. So really beautiful pens. The first thing you will notice with the Illustrator is that they offer you 2 nibs. So your first nib is your bullet nib. It's the smallest nib we do, and they're different nibs to what we have on any of our other pens. So you get your bullet nib here, which will literally just give you that fine line detail. You can do little techniques with it. It's great for creating backgrounds with like a dotted background. You could use it down the edges where you do those sort of faux stitch sort of edge. So lots of things you can do. If you are an illustrator, unlike me, you can draw with it as well, which is amazing.
On special offer at the moment, so it's more than 25% discount. So the details are just below in that 4-pack selection for Illustrator pens. I mean, I did a couple of shows with Lily, sort of colouring shows, and I said before, I was just amazed by how great these pens are, and they really are, far and beyond the kind of things that you could do. I have actually got some of the colours here, so I can show you what these look like. They're just extraordinary here. When we'll show you here. So these are your Illustrator pen colours. So these are the delicate ones. Then we have the vintage colours. Those are going to work so well with that collection, aren't they? The Belle Countryside Collection. Then we have these ones. These are your verdant, so your lots of greens, your aquatic colours, your natural colours. Whoops, why is that stuck together? There we go. Then you've got your stylish colours, very nice greys and reds in there as well. Then we have your basics, so your sort of core colours there really. Your essentials with those sort of greys and your blender, and then finally you've got your botanicals. So these are well worth, as I say, you get more than 25% discount today. So today's price is £73.99 or $111.99. So these are the things that Debbie's using at the moment.
Yeah, so I've just been carrying on because it's just a case of blending those colours. I'm using my lightest colour, so just in case anyone wants to know, it's GB2, and then I'm using an EB3. And it's just a case of blending those colours together. So I'm using that really nice light colour, and that's going to blend perfectly with that beautiful ebony colours. And they're just lovely to you. They are the pens, and I say it time and time again, I really wish I could put them in your hand because they are beautiful to use. They're ergonomical as well in their shape. So everything about them is just lovely. And then I'm going to go in and do the greys. So this time I'm going to be using a BG3 and a BG6. So 2 of the same colour family, and we're going to use our lightest colour, which is our 3, so we can actually colour the horse in.
That's lovely, isn't it? It looks really realistic.
It's amazing, isn't it, how you can bring it to life.
Yeah.
And I'm not too worried. I'm really just stroking the top of the page, just creating that just base colour. And I'm not worried about putting too much colour down. I'm not worried about it being stripy. I'm not trying to create that solid blend. What I want to do is start coming in and adding that shading. So don't be afraid to put in that shading where it's needed, or where you want it to go. So I'm just going by the illusion that the sun is going on the front of my image. So you can see if the sun was coming sort of from this side, I would do it more light at the top and dark at the roots. But because I'm just doing it as if the shade, so I know under its mane there would be a lot more shading. So you just come in under there. And then you can see, I mean, our stamps are great because they actually guide you. We've got that neckline, so we would have more shading under the neckline. And never be frightened to rework your image, because you might sort of think as you're looking at this, and it's the hardest thing sometimes to demonstrate, is the blendability of pen, because sometimes you have to let them work themselves. You have to give them time to blend into each other. And you have to give it that time to sort of wait. So sometimes you need to sort of go back to it to see how well they've all blended together. But you've got that really gorgeous brush nib. And then once you've done all that colouring to blend it, you can then go back in with your darker colour and you can really start to pick those out, and that'll really start to blend itself. Can you see it's really coming in with that shading? I can follow that eye area down for its nose.
And I suppose using those marks, like you say, you're making it, because I think some people are quite frightened about colouring, aren't they?
Absolutely.
A bit nervous. And we shouldn't be, because if it goes wrong, we just throw it away and start again.
Just a bit of paper.
And that's the beauty of it. But I think, like you say, if you're using those sort of marks that we put on the stamp as well to follow through, then you're getting that full effect. You're not totally left on your own with just a basic shape to sort of fill in with your pens.
Yeah, not at all. It's really simple. If you just want to colour in one colour, you can absolutely do that. So you just sort of blend them in and you can start doing all those colours. But I'm going to switch out because we don't want to see the whole image coloured in, because I do have another coloured one. What I do want to do is create a card just so that's our main focal point on there. So I've got a card here. I've also used some of, I think the papers are out of the one you just looked at with the gold spot foiling. Secret Garden.
Yep.
Yes, but it's got this, which I love. It's the sort of the panelling, the wood panelling, which is amazing. It looks so lovely. You've got really faint images in the background. So yes, we could have something a bit stronger on the front, but actually I just want to use that wood panelling, using it alongside that grey cardstock. And I'm just going to use my tape pen to pop this all together. Now I've just done myself a 5x5 card, so quite a nice little card. In fact, it might be 6x6. It was 5.5, so I got it totally wrong both times.
So you're halfway there.
Halfway there, yeah. So 5.5-inch square. Which I don't normally do, which is a weird amount for me, because I always think 6 inches or 5 inches is good, because it will go into envelopes that size. So, and all I've done, I'm not creating a card blank. So this is just a piece of square card that I've done, and then I've just mat and layered those to go on the front. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to bring these pieces in here. Now I've created a wraparound, so that will actually hold into place and make the front of our card. So when that's stuck into place, and that one is, it creates that domed effect. If I turn that so you can just see it there, that will be able to stand freely on its own. Now I'm going to show you a little tip of how to make that a little bit more rigid on the front of your card, which is what a masterclass is all about. It's all those little tips and techniques that make something even better. So just popping that into place.
And that's what we're all doing, aren't we? We're learning each time that we make a card.
Absolutely. So what I've done, I'm going to give you the measurements of this because you know I've got a 5.5 inch card there. I've got a 7.25 inch, and then I've just come in at 1/2 inch on each side and folded that in. So that gives me my wraparound. But what I've also done is I'm taking another piece of card. This card is 5.5 inches by 1.5 inch. I didn't give you, that's 1.5 inch as well. Yep, both are 1.5 inch. This one being smaller, I'm going to put in the background. So this will just go into here. What it then does is adds the structure of this on the base side, so you'll see what I mean. But it also means if I bring in my finished horse there, I can actually stick that to here, and it creates that illusion that it's coming out a bit more than having to put it on foam pads. So all I'm going to do is put some of our tape across the bottom. You can use wet glue, whatever your choice of glue. We're just going to have the horse right at the very top there in the centre. And then all I'm going to do is use those side pieces with my tape pen, and I'm putting it on a few times just so we get that extra stick. And we're going to let me bring in my pokey tool, that'll be easier. I'm going to take my pokey tool and just round that, so it gives us a little bit of a round sort of base there. And then when we come to sticking that down, let's pop that in there. I don't want too much, but I want enough so when this goes round, that will actually aid to this. So I'm just checking. Yep, that gives me 2 lots of room. I could do it a little bit wider actually. So pop that up a bit. There we go. And then you won't see this, so I'm just going to rub that down to make sure that that's stuck fast. And then this piece, before we stick this on, I have just got some beautiful cardstock that matches. We're going to pop that into place. Oh, wrong side, we want that piece.
I've had a few people messaging in to say hello. So Eileen says, good morning everyone from Puerto Rico. Mary says, good morning from Maine, everyone. Stacey, hello from New York. Shadia, good morning. Lily Craft, hello again from North Yorkshire. Gilmore's watching from warm Michigan. I don't like the warm. I know what you mean. It gets a little bit too hot, doesn't it? Mary says, glad to see Debbie back and well again. Yeah, no, Debbie's been off, a bit poorly, but haven't you? But better now.
Absolutely.
All fine now.
All good.
Sarah says, glad, so nice to have you back, Debbie. Hope you had a wonderful time away. Jeffrey, Debbie, I do hope you had a joyous and happy birthday yesterday. Leonie says, they changed my life too, Rocker Blocks. Gilmore says, oh, Fabio the horse. There were other names like Mayo and Paul, but that was the main flow in the wind was definitely Fabio-like. Yeah, it does definitely look like that.
Yeah,
Sarah says, the Illustrator pens are so good. I have all of them and I love them. I also love the Belle Countryside. It's a huge favourite of mine. And Robbie says, I'm loving this collection. Great cards today. I think they're really, really pretty.
Yeah,
and I do like the idea of this, this horse with his flowing mane.
I know, he looks rather regal, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Perhaps that's why there's a crown in the collection.
Maybe.
Right, so I'm just using this. So you've got your happy birthday there, such a beautiful font. And then I'm just going to put another one in the centre to pop that into, because I want to keep that, I don't want it curved, but I want it to look straight on the top. So this is the sort of card that you'd probably want to make a box for. And then all I've got here, I've got a nice little ribbon just to go in that top corner to finish it off. So nice and simple, but really effective, and just another different style of card. And I love the fact that you've got the, oh, do you know what I've done? Silly me. I bet people were shouting at me. So I can't, I'm going to have to back this onto a card, and I'll tell you why, because I meant to put it at the bottom to help it stand up. When it's on the bottom, can you see the bottom where I can't stand that up? Because it's not on the bottom. And I don't know why I did that, because obviously on the top one, but there you go. There's our one there, and I'll back this. Now, you don't lose anything because I'm just going to back this onto another card blank.
Absolutely.
But there you go. There's our first make, keeping it nice and simple. But that's a nice little tip in that, having that extra little bit inside.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. And it stops it from everything getting really squashed when it goes in the post as well,
yes.
I suppose,
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so we've also got some Nitwit products for you. So we've got some A4 pearlescent accent card. So in these really pretty pinks, greens, purples, and this very kind of dark teal colour. So these are your cardstock over here, and we've also got a paper pad. I don't know what that is. Paper pad over here. Again, with all these beautiful 12 by 12 papers here. These are double-sided as before, so you've got lots and lots of different... I keep doing this around the wrong way. I've got to learn, haven't I? There we go. That's much better that way. So you can see here, you've got all of those different colours, different patterns. Again, we do like to make sure that you've got sort of deep florals, really big florals, as well as some sort of more sort of neutral kind of patterns in there. So you've got lots of pinstripes and sort of smaller patterns in there as well. So platinum price is £19.99 or $24.79. We've also got some Nitwit dies for you and a flower forming foam. God, I'm going to have to learn to say that quicker. So you've got your flower forming foam here and these little dies here as well. And this is the kind of thing that you can make with those. So incredibly pretty, great for embellishing some of your sort of home decor items, or perhaps your cards. Or I really feel that these really lend themselves to sort of little decorations along the table. Perhaps you're having a party and you want sort of table nameplates and that kind of thing. Pop a little flower on the corner of there. I also think actually when you've got kids' birthday parties and you might just be using a simple craft bag for putting in all their goodies in, their sort of bag to take home, putting a couple of these little flowers on the top really sort of elevates it, and nice and easy for you to do. And these are going to work really well with those shadow boxes that you saw earlier today, and we're going to be having on the show later on. So this is £15.19 or £18.39 platinum price as well, so worth doing. So we're going to go back and do another demo with Debbie. So more horses for this one?
No, we're gonna bypass the horse for a minute, but we're going to bring in some dies, and we're going to be bringing in that topper stamp as well, because I absolutely love this one. So this one is the Grande frame. So yeah, anyone that's not seen this before, it's so useful. I use it on so many different things. I love it because you're getting the die, you're also getting that really large stamp, you're getting all your different sentiments to go inside, but it's great even if you have sentiments at home that you want to put into these, you can use. And that's what sometimes makes sets like this really versatile, because you can use it time and time again. Now this edger die, we're going to be doing a card just to cut it onto the spine of the card, but we've got loads to get through, so I'm going to sort of whiz through some of the bits and pieces. What I also love is, I want to show you a different one, because we did show that this morning, so I want to bring this one into it as well. So I love this. Really beautiful die and stamp as well. This is the Statement Floral. Now anyone that wants to learn how to colour, this is a really nice non-threatening stamp.
Yes.
And I say that because it's not intimidating, it's not got too much big space on there, so it's a really nice one to stamp out and do. So let's stamp this one out and see exactly what they are. And you can see the sentiments that are in here all follow that same font as well, which is really pretty. So if you're having a garden party, you've got the garden gate sign there. We're going to bring in some, and in fact, let's do the rocker blocks. I keep talking about them. I know we've got the one on the show, but as there might be some new people, I want to show you, it doesn't want to stick to my rocker block. There we go. I want to show, we keep talking about rocker blocks, so I want to show you the different methods that we have. We also do a stamping mat. So that is just more of a sort of thicker sort of foam, which is quite dense. And that helps take the weight off your arm. So if you've got any dexterity issues, it makes it a lot easier to stamp with. And you're going to do exactly the same. We're just going to tap this up. Now you want to make sure that you have fully put your ink on the stamp. So I always like to turn it and put it on in a different direction, because I think you have different levels of on touch.
Oh,
so
that's
you can be putting more.
Turning it round makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And then all we're going to do is we're going to put this bottom bit here, so the piece on here, what we call the heel, put that to the heel, and we're going to rock from heel to toe. And I'm going to use my 2 fingers in the centre. Oh, it's just fallen off. It's all right though. So we rock forwards and actually just rock to the heel. I'm worried that might fall back, so we'll just go straight over. And that gives you that crisp image every single time. So the rocker blocks, if anyone wants to just get into their stamping, that's a really nice quick way that you can do that with. And when I was saying earlier about cleaning your stamps, if you just rock it a few times over, that will sort of clear your stamp, and it's ready to go back in the pack then.
Okay.
Right, so we've got this one. Again, it comes with that beautiful die. So you would just use your die, pop that round the actual edges, cut that out. And then...
so do you colour first, or do you cut with your die first?
So I just do whatever takes my mood at the time. But what I would recommend is you colour first, because if it goes wrong or you don't like your colouring, you haven't wasted die cutting. So that's a little bit that you don't need to do. So it's probably best to do your image and colour it first. Then when you're finished, when you're liking what you've done, then cut it out and you've got it ready to use. So this time I'm just going to use a couple of different ones here. I'm going to switch to my tri-blend. These are the tri-blend brush. I'm doing the gold yellow blend and the antique pink blend. The antique pink is one of my absolute favourite pens to use. The colour on this is beautiful. I do love those sort of dusky pinks. I think they're really, really nice, and they lend themselves beautifully to this collection. So I'm just going to do a little bit of colouring on this because I do have a finished sample. Let's do our other ones. We can add in. So you can see I've started in with my middle colour because I don't want too much light on here. I want to sort of create a bit of depth with our warmer tones, which are our darker colours. And just look really pretty. So because it's a smaller image to colour, I don't have to worry too much about blending and going back in with a lighter colour. And then using our yellow, which is our gold yellow blend.
Gilmore says, happy birthday, belated birthday, Debbie and Becky. And Mary says, love that Nitwit's paper. Sarah Brown says, a beautiful card, Debbie.
Oh, thank you very much. And thank you for the birthday wishes. Yeah, me and Becky don't share a birthday. We're a day apart, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
I do share one. So George just asked if I share one with Craig. Yeah, we're birthday twinnies, we always say. Although I was born a lot sooner than Craig.
It's funny, I have a proper birthday twin. He's born 15 minutes before me.
Are you a twin?
Well, no, I'm not. I'm not a twin. But he's my birthday twin. So a friend, born on the same day, same year, 15 minutes apart we were born. Wow. And we ended up doing the same courses at college, I didn't meet him until I was in my 20s, and he's a friend of a friend. But we chose the same courses and same universities, same colleges. We didn't actually meet up until much later. And then we were talking, both our daughters doing the same A-levels, or my daughter's already finished her A-levels, want to do the same things. They both our daughters have Tourette's. It's weird. It's almost like there's a real link there.
Wow.
And even his wife was like, my God, the coincidences between the two of us, crazy.
That's like a do-do-do-do-do-do-do moment. Yes, that's amazing. It's funny how it works out with that in people in lives, isn't it?
And sometimes people that are born around about the same time as you get on particularly well with, don't you? It's almost like, you're the same kind of people.
Yes.
So, it's good. There's quite a few in my group that seem to be born around about the same kind of time. It must mean we're lovely people, Debbie. That's what it means.
Is that what it means?
That's what I'm saying, and that's what we're going with. Okay?
Absolutely. I love being a June baby. I don't know, I've always loved being born in June. Yeah, I think it is all that summer, and I always feel, because the 21st is obviously summer solstice, and I always feel like I'm a bit greedy and have the longest day of the year.
And as a kid growing up, it was quite nice because 6 months, between Christmas and your birthday, when you're choosing your toys, you're going through the Argos catalogue and choosing your toys for your birthday or Christmas. You've got all that time. I always felt really sorry for friends that birthdays were in December, because people would just say, well, that's your birthday and Christmas present combined. Yes. I think we've got the best of both worlds, being 6 months apart.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Right, so what I've done, I did do a similar card to this morning, so I'm not going to cut it out, but if you cut your die, I've just done done a 6x6 card, cut it on the blank to turn it back on. Once you cut it out, it will create this die effect, which is absolutely stunning. And then if I bring these back in, so these are my finished ones cut out, so they look absolutely lovely. Then what I've done is use the same die that I've cut this out with to create another darker. Now this is the dark card that you get in, or one of the colours, should I say, not so much dark card, that you get in your pack of A4 sheets, because I do love to create a shadow around, but I also like to create it almost like it's a topper and has a layering effect. So what I do like to do is take my scissors and snip it right up the middle. This is a trick I do all the time, and it's very effective. And all I'm going to do is use my tape pen to go on this side. And then when we put this over here, we create that one shadow effect onto the side. I just want that little rim going around the edges. Now, if I'd kept that together, that's the only shadow I would see. So by splitting my die in half, let's pop that other bit on, we then have a shadow on the other side as well.
That's a clever idea.
Yeah, it's really effective, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just popping that round. And there we go.
And you don't notice that join.
You don't notice the join at all. You can see how much I've left that gap in the middle, but you don't see that, and it means that we've got something that's really framed and giving that shadow completely at the back. So we've got this one, and we've got our cards. So I've just got some papers here, and we're going to pop those onto the front. And it's just nice to be able to do different things in a masterclass. So we've got more time to spend on our makes. Not only can we do the die cut, we can show you the hints and tips like layering these up. It's just nice to be able to craft completely with a full set of what we have. And let's pop that one in the middle. And apologies, because if anyone's wondering where the papers come from, they do come from the original Belle Countryside. But I didn't want to not use some of the papers, because I know lots of people have got them at home. And then all we're going to do is we're going to pop this one onto the front. So again, use whatever glue that you've got in your stash. We can pop those into place. So I'm going to pop that right over the top there. So almost hiding that, but it gives it a beautiful effect. Put that a bit straight. And then we're going to put our flower in the background, and I am going to just pop that onto some foam pads. Just so we've got that instant dry.
I very much like that sort of yellow and the pink together. They work well, and they sort of lift. If you'd gone for all pinks, it would have looked quite flat, wouldn't it? With that sort of darker sort of maroon colour, that yellow sort of lifts everything up.
Yeah, it looks beautiful, doesn't it? And sometimes it's just about being brave with colours. I mean, you must really find that in the material world as such, because colour, they have so many different patterns and colours. But there you go, a nice, again, quite quick card, but being able to put it all together, and that all ties in, and you're getting all that die and those stamp and die sets all in this collection.
Beautiful, really, really nice. So that's using the Belle Countryside. So if I go through what you're going to be getting in this collection, and I'll try not to do it upside down or back to front. So this is the floral lace embossing folder that we've got here. Then we've got Becky's Crown, ornate lace. This is the edge that we've used, but we can use this for all sorts of different things. Then we also have your luminaires and lanterns die set. So you've got your sentiments in there, as well as those little dies for those little lanterns. Then we have your equine elegance. So that is the horse that we had earlier today. So this is a die and stamp set, as well as those little sentiments at the bottom. We have your statement floral, which is the one we've just used there. So you can see how effective that looks, you know, with cutting that out of the die, and all that beautiful foliage. It really looks lovely. And I do think, you know, you're absolutely right about that being a really great one to start off by colouring if you've never done some colouring before. It's fairly easy for you to do. And then this is the Grande frame, or Grande frame. So you've got your sentiments that you can place in the middle of that, or using that for other bits and pieces. But using that sort of that drop shadow effect is really good that Debbie just showed us just then. Then we've got the country home, the little thatched cottage that we all dream about, with your sentiments in there as well. You'll also be getting your dies for using with your flower forming foam. So these are the dies that how they can look, but you could of course use in your card. You will be getting your card stock and also your foam in here as well. So in all of those kind of muted greens and pink shades as well that work really well. So this platinum price is £43.99 or $57.59. The next thing we're going to have a look at are the Grande edge dies. So I'll just move those out of the way. So we'd had some demos with these earlier on. You can see these are really, really beautiful. So this one is your elegant trellis. Then we have your Broderie Anglais kind of one here. So this is the one that, this is called gingham lace, but this is the one I was saying reminds me of the kind of Broderie Anglais dresses I remember having as a child, kind of thing that you'd have for a new baby, that kind of very pretty effect. Then we have the balloon flowers here, great one for paper piecing, this one here. The rose garden, again, great for paper piecing, really effective look to that, very sort of Art Nouveau kind of design here. Then we've got elegant daisy chains, and this is the one where we showed you earlier on. Actually, the little daisies themselves are only partially cut out, so you can actually lift those out and make those into 3D little flowers that were really, really effective. And the last one is the chasing dragonflies. So you'll get all of these for £46.76 or $53.82. So one more demo before we go to a break, I think.
Sounds good to me.
Fabulous.
Right, so let's use the Grande, or Becky's crown, sorry, in a totally different way. So we're going to pop this on, and actually, I've been naughty. I need to just poke it all. This is a really intricate die, so all your little bits, some of them can get stuck inside. Most dies are pretty good at easy release these days, but this one, because of the tiny, tiny little...
So last week I was talking about this. I have always bashed my die on the table.
Yes.
And I've heard that I shouldn't be doing that.
I do it all the time,
Oh,
Becky.
okay.
Yeah,
so you just make sure you're bashing it the wrong way, is it well, on the flat side rather than the cutting side?
Oh, I don't do that either.
Like, I feel so much better because I don't either. I give it a good bash.
I always give it a good
gets rid of all those small pieces, doesn't it?
It's something quite nice about it as well. So I'm not going to recommend anyone else do it. I always say, please be gentle with your dies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think dies are quite resilient. I don't think you're going to break them. I think if they were more intricate, sometimes there have been dies in the past where these tiny bits maybe could bend if you was to whack them.
Yep.
So, but actually, these are good, solid, strong dies.
They're surprisingly big, aren't they? Surprisingly heavy dies. I've had some dies from other places that were, you know, almost as you're taking them off the backing, they're bending because they're so thin. Yeah. But these always seem very sturdy.
Very sturdy. I've never known the dies to bend.
No.
So yeah, they're very good dies. But yeah, they're strong, and so I figure, don't tell anyone, but Sarah does it.
Oh, okay. Well,
so
Sarah
I think
does
if
it.
the boss does it,
I think, well, yeah, exactly.
But depending on who's in that day, sometimes Leanne's the boss and she really doesn't like it.
Oh.
So that's why I'm whispering.
Okay.
But we're going to do it. Look, so if we do this, it will pull them out and gives us, look at that. I mean,
see, that is a crown.
Let me just bring it that way. Yeah, that is a crown.
That's a crown.
It is a crown. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So once you cut that out, you want to cut that out again because I want to use this as my base one. So let's just take that one out. And actually, because it doesn't have a cutting edge, if you had that long piece of card, if I'd done that on a long piece of card, you'd have the band to wrap around your head as well. That would be nice in Christmas for the three kings, wouldn't it? In the nativity to make the children, that sort of thing. Yeah, so really nice, usable die. Once you've cut them out, you'll have your two pieces. So I've cut this one out. Again, this is the cardstock that comes in that pack. And all I've done is added a bit of matte mirror card, which is in the silver. So we can just give that a whole new level, just of that little shadowing underneath. So once we've done that, I'm going to pop that to the side because I do you want to bring in the foam sheets. Now, I've already cut some of these out of the flowers that are in the collection. Let me just grab them so you can see. So these are the flowers you're getting. Now look at that. That is a really good comprehensive set of flower petals in 4 different sizes, which is maybe 5 if you count the diddy ones. And they're going to create beautiful effects for you. You've then got the stamen one as well, which is a great one. So just for timing, I've already cut them out so you can see. Now you can cut out, if I was to fold these pieces, I could cut out, if I folded it like that, there's 6 pieces in there in total. They would cut through 6 pieces of your foam. All you then do is just give them a flick and to part them. Yeah. So it's really good having foam because they really do cut multiples out in one go. So I'm just going to bring in the bits that I've done. I've also done my stamen as well in the foam. It makes it more pliable. It means you can bend it, so we can sort of fold this in together, or you could literally just roll this, which is what we're going to do. Okay. But first of all, I'm going to bring the iron in. So I'm sure you've all seen our foam flowers before, and the whole technique of these is to use either a normal iron, or you can use you can use a craft iron. They do craft irons. Yep. And also there is your hot
you're like embossing heat
tool, that's it, heat tool, couldn't think what the word was. Yeah, there's a heat tool that you can use as well. It takes a bit longer and you have to hold it with your tweezers or your pokey tool to heat it up, and it doesn't come out as well as your iron. So you can just use a standard iron. Now I'm going to use our ball tools. You will find them on the website. They come in 3 different sizes, and you get them with your sponge as well. And all I'm going to do is drop this on, give that sort of a curl so it all sort of starts to shrink, and then drop it, because that will already start to have formed its own petal shape. Okay, so we're just going to do that with the others.
It's very quick, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm keeping it very simple as well, because I just
heat-wise, what temperature do you have your iron?
So I've got it on hot.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I always put it on a hot heat. Some irons go really hot and it shrinks them quite quickly, so you might find that you don't want them to go so hot. But I always think it heats them quite nice and quickly, and you get really nice effects. So popping that onto there. That's our last, one more. So, and they are just nice and quick, nice to work with. That one doesn't seem to want to...
They've got a nice feel to them, don't they?
Yeah, really nice feel. So I'm keeping this really quite simple, because you can manipulate these, and if you fold them up, and you can roll them and go back, there is foam shows. So that, in fact, not long ago, Corinne did a 101 on foam flowers, so you'll be able to find all that. And then all we need to do with these is take a... I'm going to take a pokey tool. Actually, no, I'm not, because I'm putting the stamens in the middle, and I'm going to do that after I put it together. So I'm going to bring in my hot glue gun. So hot glue gun is perfect if you want to create your foam flowers. So all I'm going to do is use my gun to put some onto the edge. And we're just going to stick that inside, and it's nice and quick. Please be careful of your fingers. I'm sure I don't need to tell you how hot this gun is. Poor Debbie.
I have little silicone fingertips that I purchased, so you put them on your fingers, and then it means if you get any glue, because I'm always using hot glue and I'm always getting glue on myself, that's quite useful, and you pick them up quite cheaply. And they're great if you're sewing as well, because they're silicone, they're like a thimble. So great if you're trying to pull through a needle.
That's a good idea.
I like to try and have something that I can use for multiple different things.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's a brilliant idea, though. And funny enough, as you're saying that, I'm thinking I've just thrown out a whole bag of little silicone fingertips. I don't even know where I got them from, and I was having to sort of de-stash and declutter, and I'd forgotten all about it, so you just said. Oh. Never mind.
know what to get you for your birthday next year.
Yeah. And then I'll put them in the drawer and they won't still get used. That's the trouble. We get all these things for good intention, I think. So let's just pop that one in for our last one.
Lots of people coming in about their birthdays. Mary says, happy belated birthday, Debbie and Becky. Jill says, a high percentage of my friends were born in July and June, like me. Kirsty said, my birthday twin is my friend's daughter. She was born on my 18th birthday. Well, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, really nice.
Sandra says, I agree with you, Becky. I've always claimed to have the best possible birthdays as I get half birthday presents too. The 25th is a perfect time for a birthday. And Mary Beth says, I'm a June birthday too. As a kid, I always liked it. It was halfway between Christmas. Yeah,
yes.
I think that's a good way to go. Well, we can't choose our birthdays, can we? Not unless we're the Queen. So you're just almost sort of concertinaing that together, are you?
I'm just, yeah, so I'm pushing the two parts together, so folding them up, because I've done this in foam, because I want to keep it all that soft feel going through it. All I'm doing is halving it and then twisting it round.
And have you put any glue on that?
Not
now?
yet,
Not yet.
no, not at all. Because all I'll do is put some glue on the end that will hold that bottom base together. And you can make this as big or as small as you want. I love the fact that it's, you know, it's quite a long one, so you can make it shorter if you wanted to. But it just, once you've got that twist in, it just goes round beautifully. So that's our last one, and then all we're going to do is pop a little bit of glue onto that top, so that will seal all of that, making sure it goes all around the edges, and then we can pop that into the centre. So I'm just leaving that just to dry a little bit so it catches all those pieces. Pop that in, and then it gives you that really lovely.
Oh, that's lovely.
Arm there, and any bits that maybe have just come out, like that bit's a bit longer, you can always move them around, and then you can sort of use your use these. I've seem to have layered them all the same way, but you'll get the gist. That's how you make your sort of flowers.
So I've not seen stamens that you can cut out of the foam. I've only sort of seen the normal stamens that we would have, where we just sort of poke those through the hole in the middle. That looks really effective, that little
yeah,
shape,
very effective. Yeah, it's lovely. And even if you cut it out of card, it gives you that same effect as well. Right, so talking about cards, let's put a card together. So I've grabbed my positive thoughts. The other thing I want to do is I want to bring in the this is so underused, these sort of shapes and borders and embossing folders. It's such a lovely detailed one. So I've took a piece of that card, I've just edged it in some of our green topaz, and then we're going to put that on the front. And I'm just looking, because I have inked one side, I'm feeling where my embossed detail is and where my flat detail is. So even though I can feel this, I can feel that it's indented into it. So I know that my embossing on my card will go this way and my embossing will come out on the other side. So your flat side is where your should be the top of your window. And actually, just to prove the point with this, I'm going to grab my Gemini, because I'm pretty sure, yep, we can just pop that through our Gemini. Now, if you thought, so I'm just going to lift it up and just check. Yeah, that's embossed beautifully. If you did want it to be embossed just that little bit more, you could just put an extra card shim through with it and that'll emboss it. But look at that, beautiful embossed detail in seconds going through your Gemini Mini. So I've got two of those, so we're going to use those as our corners to our card. I'm just keeping this nice and simple. We've got our cardstock inside. Again, this is the Positive Thoughts paper pad, which has been my absolute favourite this year. I've just loved it. And then we're just going to use our tape to go round. And this beautiful pearlised cardstock, because in the pack, Becky, it's you get textured and pearlised cardstock. Oh. So it's nice that you get two different types of cardstock in there.
That's
and
a really pretty colour as well, isn't it?
It's beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful.
I mean, you've paired it with pinks, but that would work really well with blues as well, wouldn't it? It's that kind of sort of all over kind of colour that you could use for lots of different things.
Absolutely. Yeah, it would be stunningly beautiful. But lovely for weddings, think of weddings you've got coming up, or anniversaries, but also just everyday birthdays, engagements, any sort of cards really. I did have another one. What have I done? There it is, right in front of me. So I've got 2 of those borders. That makes me laugh. My watch is telling me it's time to stand up. I'm already stood up. And then we're going to use these to sort of bridge the gap. Now, when you are making what I call a bridge card, it means you are bridging that gap to make it stand up. So what you want to do in a normal bridge card, you would have one side open and one side closed. That means whenever you close it, it will always close flat and you'll be able to move it. But because these weren't as long, so you can see, so what you would normally do, you would have a piece that goes from that side to that side, and that would be your bridge. But I wanted to just create a middle bridge here. And then, so what we're going to do is we're going to have it so it will shut, but we're going to do it just in the center. So first of all, we're going to use, let me just grab my pad here. I'm getting all my die interlocking. We're going to use the die here. I'm going to put it on to the, we want dots, sorry, there we go. So I'm going to use my dotty tape pen. That's going to go through all those intricate layers, but go through the dots we don't need. We'll go through to the base, which is why these are so amazing.
And it's clever because when you're using it, it doesn't tear those intricate dies, does it?
No, it doesn't.
But, you know, it's sort of, because that would be my worry when I first sort of started using them, thinking, oh goodness, you know, I've spent all that time, you know, having that sort of really intricate die being cut. Not that time, because it's only taken 18 seconds to go through the machine, but you know what I mean, and that doesn't, you don't have to worry about that.
No, not at all. But this is a good die. I mean, the space is used very well. Like even when I'm burnishing over the top, no little bits are coming out. So it is a great die to use. So always open those, and I'm going to roughly, you will be able to see sort of a rough estimate each. I mean, you could measure if you want to, but we're going to pop that onto one side. And all I'm trying to make sure is I'm guidelining here. Can you see my pieces here? I'm lining up so they're central. I know that sounds strange because I've got it shut, but it means when I open the card up, it will then be central to that part, but it will still lay flat.
Yep.
So all I need is to put glue on each side. So just up here, again, I'm just using our tape pen. And it's the dotty one. I'm putting extra dots on to make sure that it will adhere very well. And then when we hold that down, so I know roughly now that our middle section that I'm looking at is touching, just like so. So these two parts here, I was lining up to these lines. And again, I'm going to use my tool just to burnish that down. And then when that stands up, that gives us that bridge part right in the centre of our card. Oh, and then what I'm going to do is use our flowers. So I've got some flowers we've already made. So we're going to use those and our leaves and just pop them in place. And then I've also just got one of the sentiments that's in the collection, with love from me to you.
That's a really romantic card, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? And really nice to use. Oh, I'll tell you what I didn't use, but I will show you on my finished card, which I meant to, and it's right in front of me. Use gilding wax. So if you use gilding wax on the top of your embossing folder, it really highlights it, but I'll show you the gilding wax in a minute on the finished card. So I'm going to bring in my glue gun again, and all we're going to do is pop our flowers into place. Have one up here.
So the glue gun you would say would be better for adhering the foam flowers to the card rather than using gel glue?
Yes, I think so, because especially when you've shaped your flowers or leaves, what that will do is it will hold them in that position. Where if you've got your 3D glue gel, it wouldn't be so, it would still be wet and it wouldn't hold them exactly in place. I love the quick grab of a hot glue gun, which is why I tend to use them over anything else, especially with foam flowers. And you can still sort of reposition, but it's you do have to be more quicker, I think, with a hot glue gun. And then we'll just pop that at the top. And there we go, that's our finished card.
Lovely,
So
those
turn
colours
that one
are so
round.
pretty.
And then if I just bring this one in, you'll be able to see the difference. Can you see we've highlighted just the top of the embossing folder in silver. And it's really, and actually it's a bit naughty of me not to show you, so I will just quickly bring in that gilding wax. Gilding wax is literally, our particular one was made for furniture, and it's like a metallic. You can see, you just put it onto your finger and rub it really gently over the top of where you want it to go.
Wow, that really picks that embossing up,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
really picks it up, doesn't it? Yeah, and that's all you do. But please, 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 and it's the one I say, please, 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 use a really gentle touch. When you put it on your finger, don't use it like that, where you've got a little blob on the end. You have to make sure that you push that back in, so you've got a smooth finger, and then you just literally go over the top.
So you wouldn't use your blending tool for that, you would just use your finger?
Just use your finger, yes. And the good thing, I don't have any tissue with me, but if you get some kitchen towel or a cloth, like a scrap piece of cloth, and buff it, that goes even more shinier.
Wow.
And it's amazing, and it sets it. It won't then come off onto anything, because once it's on, you can't take it off. But look at that, I mean, it makes such a difference just to apply it. And you can see I've used very little out of that tub, and it creates such a beautiful effect. And there we go.
Stunning. Really, really like that sort of silver and pink. Really beautiful. Well, if you want to make some of the flowers that, you know, we've got some of that foam, these are a couple of tools that would be great for you to use. So we've got the moulding ball tools. So it's a set of 3 of the tools here, but they're double-ended. And you're also going to get your foam pads. So when you're sort of manipulating those flowers, if you're using your heat from your iron, or if you're just doing them by hand, perhaps you're using a card, you can be using this sort of foam mat to sort of manipulate with the ball tools going around. And then we also in this pack have the petal distressing tool as well. So this is a great price. They're 25% saving. So basically you're buying this and you're getting this for free. So really worthwhile popping it into your bag if you're interested in doing some flower forming. So this is $11.99 platinum price, or $15.96. So worth doing if you're going to be making flowers this year. You might be going to the races, want to make yourself a hat. I'd definitely be going for that. But check out your baskets and we'll see you in a couple of minutes' time.
Welcome to Crafters TV. With more than 35 hours of live shows each week, it's your home for all things craft. We shine the spotlight on new and innovative crafting products with live tutorials and demonstrations. Join our family of craft experts where fun happens every day.
Quiet. The neighbours.
I'm all out of Zoom. I'm so lost without you. I'm not singing.
Lisa, if you email in, don't send a picture of your air fryer. Make sure it's something creative.
Get creative and craft along. With our amazing deals, your next craft project is just a click away. Tune in live 7 days a week, or you can watch us on Catch Up at crafterscompanion.com, Facebook, or our YouTube channels. You can chat to us, craft along, and meet new friends by joining our online crafting community.
You entertain us, you give us a community to talk, in the chat. That wouldn't happen without you guys. It's like Crafters Companion is magical. There's magic here.
Joy, there's not a dry eye in the studio here. Debbie's welling up, I'm welling up.
There's a show for every type of crafter, from first-time dabblers to full-time makers. Crafters TV. Create every day. Quick Buy. All your crafting must-haves in a flash. Put away your tape measure and fabric scissors. The Threader's fabric cutter offers accuracy and precision with every cut. This handy tool slices through fabric in a guillotine style. Its ergonomic design features a comfortable and protective handle, so it's safe and easy to use whether you're right or left-handed. Its 45mm rotary blade will cut up to 6 layers of fabric at a time, so your sewing, quilting, and upholstery project times are cut down to size. It's equipped with a measuring guide in metric and imperial for a perfectly accurate cut every time. The built-in grid ruler has 30-degree, 45-degree, and 60-degree angle lines, so you can cut fabric on any angle, including the bias. Quick Buy. All your crafty must-haves in a flash.
Hello, welcome back. I hope you're settled on the sofa with a cup of tea and a biscuit. That's exactly where I'd be to be watching the rest of the shows today. We've got some of these interchangeable scene dies collection. Now, I love these. I think they are so cool. When I first saw these, I was like, oh, there's something else that I want, something else that I need. I think they are absolutely brilliant. So in this collection, you're getting 59 different dies in here. So this first one here is a fairy glade. So you're going to be getting all of these different dies to make these different scenes, which I think are just adorable. Now, I really felt that these lent themselves to be make it into boxes and to put on boxes to give a child a book for Christmas. So you could have some like the flower fairy kind of books, or books about flower folk or fairy folk in here. So I think there would be a really good opportunity to do something like this. Then this is a country cottage. Again, really, really beautiful dies. You're getting so much in here in order to make these fantastic scenes. This one I think is one of the absolute favourites. So this is the African savannah. You've got beautiful shapes here of all of the animals that you would see on safari. Great for if you're going to be using some sort of watercolour papers in the background with those kind of sunset type of hues. They will look absolutely stunning. Next one here is Tropical Paradise, and with all those palm leaves and the flamingo and the parrots. Again, really lovely card you could be making with this. Really sort of fantastic decorations as well. So if you're going to be using this for some kind of, perhaps you've been on holiday to somewhere very tropical and you want to create some of these scenes with a photograph in the back of that, in the background there, with all of those pretty sort of foliage scenes around the outside, would be absolutely lovely. This one is Wonderful Wonderland. This is going to be great for Christmas, isn't it? You know, that's going to look absolutely stunning, looking through the trees and the forest with all of those animals there. And then this one is a fairy tale forest. Again, beautiful. Can make some really, really stunning cards here. So this is a special price of $75.99. That's your platinum price, or $86.96. These are just stunning dies, aren't they?
Aren't they? I mean, there's so much you can do with them. I know sometimes we think that terminology of something just being, I can't think of my words, a variety.
Yeah.
We want a variety from our dies. So,
yeah.
And those dies definitely offered that. In fact, I've got some samples. Should I show some samples?
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Because they are absolutely stunning. So whether you just want to create cards like this one, where you've got it on that stepper at the front and then the card in the background, I mean, that is beautiful. Real 3D effect that you're getting from them. To things like this, where you can make your own little storybook. I mean, actually, I was thinking when I first see this one, how nice would this be to put one of the, like a picture CD in? You could put a little pocket in the back and put your little CD of pictures and stuff like that, which is maybe of your wedding. I mean, that's like the fairy tale, isn't it, in the background, and you could have your fairy tale wedding. But just creating different effects like this. So cards that have that sort of tunnel vision through them that look beautiful. I have to say, I love this one. It's just so much fun. If you've got any young child that's having a jungle themed birthday, it's a great card to go for. And then one more. This is just stunning, absolutely beautiful. Nicole Bretherick has done this one, and it just looks amazing. You look at all that depth and dimension going through there, almost looking like that amazing little book. So yeah, it is quite incredible what you can do with those dies.
I completely agree with you, and I think there's like you say, you want to do sort of multiple things with the dies that you have, and being able to, it's almost like making a scenery, like sets for a theatre. It's that kind of thing about sort of slotting all those things behind, so they're really, really beautiful. So platinum price £75.99 or $86.96. We have the Belle Countryside collection for you today. So this is a 40% saving that we've got here. You've got a mixture of different dies, you've got embossing folders, you've got stamps in there, you've got flower forming foam, and you've also got your cardstock in there as well. So if I show you what we have in here, we have our embossing folder here, which you just saw Debbie using a moment ago, using that gilding wax to get that full effect on there. Then we've got Becky's Crown. I'm going to rename this. I'm going to speak to Leanne. We're not going to call it ornate lace, we're going to call it Becky's Crown. So really versatile die here. Then you've got your stamps and sentiments. This is Lumières and Lanterns. Then we have your Equine Elegance. So this is a beautiful horse that we've got here with stamp and die, but you could always adapt this and make it into some sort of unicorn. You've also got your sentiments in there as well. Then we have your Statement Floral. So this is the flower with your die and all those beautiful sentiments in there too. We have the Grande frame. Again, you've got your sentiments, you've got your dies and your die, and you've also got your stamp in there as well. And then you've got your Country Home, which is this beautiful thatched cottage with those sentiments in there. Perfect for retirement or new home cards, that kind of thing. And then you've also got your dies here for using with your flower forming foam, or of course you could use your cardstock on here. So you saw the demonstration a little while earlier. Using these little stamens looks so effective in comparison to some of the normal stamens that we would have had before, where you're sort of poking them through that little hole. But actually being able to cut them out of the foam, it gives a totally different dimension to it. And this is the thing, if you've already bought sort of dies before for flower forming, you can mix and match with all of these. You know, you can use them for all sorts of different flowers. You can make all sorts of flowers that, you know, perhaps you might be using one of these shapes and using a different shape of a flower from something else. So you can definitely create your own designs. And then finally, you'll be getting your cardstock. So we've got that pearlescent cardstock, and you're also going to be getting that linen cardstock in there as well. And you'll be getting your flower forming foam in all of those colours. So great deal, £43.99 or $57.59. So we're going to go back over to Debbie for some more demonstrations.
Yeah, so I've already stamped the horse. I want to keep just saying I've already stamped Paul, but Paul doesn't seem an appropriate name for a horse, does it? So let's give him another colour, but also I want to bring in a different medium. So I am using our tri-blend markers, and I'm using the Ice Grey blend. The great thing with having a horse that you just want white is you don't have to do a lot, so you can just do that sort of shadowing. So you can sort of come again like under that chin there. We know that it's going to be a little bit of shadowing around the mane, so underneath. So it's just giving that really gentle touch all the way around. And then just where they've actually put the stamp, puts this lines in for us, we can just go around there and just put those, and it just gives that beautiful shadowing without you having to do any other work, and you've got your beautiful horse there straight away. So the next thing I want to do is I want to keep it all sort of in a grey theme. I'm going to use our grey just to go over the whole mane. So just giving that a colour in. Again, this is where you'll feel that brush nib flows amazingly. So just colouring that all the way down.
What's the name for a horse that's completely grey? There's a. I made it sound like it was a joke then, didn't I? It wasn't a joke, but there's a certain name for it. Is it called piebald?
I wouldn't know. Never heard of that.
Message in if you know, or maybe it's just something I've made up in my head. I've got it in my head. It's called something like piebald horse, but I might be wrong.
Oh, what horse?
Piebald.
Piebald. I think James is Googling the wrong thing.
I think rather than Googling what's a white horse called, he's just got Google's white horse pubs. Not quite what I meant, the pubs, but I like it. I think that's the most common name of a pub in England.
What,
isn't
the grey
it?
horse?
The white horse.
Oh, the white horse, of course, yes. See, we have the black horse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was there last week. Right, so I'm just putting some of that grey just behind where the leaves are.
It's a palomino, apparently. Palomino.
Ah.
Was it piebald then? Is that one that's just beige coloured? Or is that just a word I've made up? Is that a word that happens to be in Becky's dictionary but nobody else's? I knew they had a certain name. That is beautiful. And you could of course make it into a rainbow horse, couldn't you, with lots of rainbow colours in there?
You could, yes.
Yeah.
It looked almost like a unicorn.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't realise that there was names for just like one colour animals.
Okay,
Oh.
piebald has got markings of a cow, like a Frisian cow. Black patches, okay. So I hadn't made it up. It was actually something.
It is a thing.
No, okay. I don't feel quite so mad as I did earlier on. Making
So
it
our
worse.
other Becky, she would know that. Because she just got this mind of knowing all the, yeah. She has such the most random knowledge. And I'm like, how do you know that? She goes,
She's good in a pub quiz then.
She'd be brilliant in a pub quiz, yeah, absolutely.
At the White Horse, where we're all going to go later on for a quick drink.
Yeah, I don't retain knowledge like that. I go, oh, that's interesting, but ask me that same question tomorrow and I've already forgot it.
When we did a show a little while ago, we were asking for people's random facts, and I loved it. There were some amazing random facts, but the only one I really remember is that sloths have green moths in their fur.
Great. They have what?
They have green moths in their fur.
Moths?
Yeah.
Is that because they're dirty? Or
I've got no idea. Do you know, it was one of those things that I didn't really want to find out any more of because I felt a little bit sick. But we had some great sort of random facts that people were sending them. Send us some more random facts. We love a random fact here. And we'll see if any of us can remember them at a later date. But I do like a random fact.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
I love sloths.
Me too. I always think I'm a sloth.
They're so animated, aren't they, in their movements? You're almost like willing them to just get a little bit faster.
And they always look so happy. I assume they're not, but they do look always like they're smiling.
They do look like they're happy, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm definitely not a sloth. I'm not. I need to be more like a sloth. I run sometimes at 100 miles an hour and I need to slow down. So we're just putting in some shade in. And because it's not too big an image to colour in, I thought it'd be nice to do the image from start to finish and show you how you can get all that shade in.
So again, this is quite a good one to start off with if you haven't coloured often before.
Yeah, and the worst that can happen, Becky, is you just ruin a piece of card if you don't like it and start again. So, yeah, I think there's something very nice about colouring. Got leaves going up here as well.
Apparently, Palomino horses are beige. So we're still looking for the white, what the white horse is called.
Ah, okay.
So message in, let us know. So we can't find out.
Right, the other thing we can do, but what I want to do is cut it out first, is we can add a touch of glitter because we have the clear sparkle pen, which is always a really nice one to cut. So let's pop this in. Sorry, nice one to cut. I was thinking of die cutting then. It's a nice one to lay over the top of alcohol markers. And actually, it's a great one to use in your watercolours as well.
Okay.
So let's cut the horse out. The reason I want to cut first is because the sparkle pen is a wet pen. So we don't want that to be wet in the Gemini. So I love these dies because they're what we call an outline die. You just find the outline, moving it around so you've got the same outline all the way on the edge, pop that through and then we can run that through the Gemini. And there we go. So it cuts out the outline of the horse. You could do the same as what we did in the last demo where you shadowed it in a darker colour underneath. So another little technique there. You could also darken your edges with an ink pad, always a nice thing to do as well. So just think if you want to be creative, oh I think my die slipped, but I'm not going to worry too much. It's still cut it out, but can you see I've got a bigger white edge round there, but it doesn't matter, it's just me not securing it very well in the machine. So let's pop that onto there and then we can use our sparkle pen. So we can actually then come in with our horse here and I'm just going to paint. It's not going to upset or bleed into the alcohol pens, but it's going to give me a nice shiny horse. I love these pens, I could use them on everything. They're also great for putting some highlights, some sparkle onto your papers.
Okay.
So popping that in there.
Could you use some of our those sort of glue pens we've got and some gilding flakes along the lines of the mane, that kind of thing.
Oh,
Would
that's
that
a good
work?
idea. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you just have to be quite careful where you put it, but you could put little lines of the glue pens and then put them on. But look at that, we get that beautiful.
Oh, that's beautiful, isn't
yeah,
it?
really lovely. It just takes it to a whole new level. So let's bring in my cards. So we've got our card and our papers. Again, these papers that you're getting in the card blank work really well with the Positive Thoughts card. So a really nice one to use. Let me grab my tape pens. Yeah, they seem to just match really well. In fact, I don't know, I think it must be our Lily that's put all our lists together of what's on the shows, because the paper pads go really well with this collection.
So I have an update on sloths.
Oh.
So recent research suggests that sloths are gardeners, cultivating and eating the algae on their fur for the purpose of supplementing their diets. In that case, the moths are an essential player as they act like fertilizer. When they die, the algae consumes the nutrients in their remains. That makes me feel even more sick than the idea that we've got moths growing in them. And White Horse is an albino, apparently. Bob and Squeak says hello from a glorious sunny Fareham in the UK. So we're getting lots of sort of information. Send me some more. I like a little snippet, a little irrelevant snippet of knowledge that when I go home I can regale my family with, and they just switch off and say, "Oh, Mummy's being crazy." But I do like a random fact. So please do send them in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do love those colours. Those pinks and that green on the leaf is lovely.
Yeah, they look very pretty, don't they? Yeah, lovely to be able to mix and match and use different colours. And actually, it's quite nice when a paper pad isn't now available with the collection to see how many other paper pads it actually goes with. And it does mean that we always have something in our stash that we can use with them to sort of mix it up a bit and have them look a little bit different.
Because sometimes it can be a bit scary. If you've bought a whole collection and you've worked your way all the way through it, colour, with the papers and the vellums that we have, to then sort of be able to sort of think, I'm going to think outside the box and use this for something different.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually a really good thing when we don't have the paper pads and we're showing you all the other things you could be using with the stuff that you may already have actually, or things that you can add into your purchases.
Absolutely. I think it's like when we always say that, use these things to enhance, bring out, and also new things enhance all our older stock as well, and what you've got in your stash. And also, I think it makes us remember that we've got them in our stash, because we have so many great products that we use for crafting, but we forget about them. New things come out, we then use those, and then forget about the rest, but they do all go lovely together. So I'm just using my nesting circle dies. They're the stitched edge nesting dies, and we're going to place our horse onto there. And it's just creating that sort of simplistic card with our glitter. And then you've seen me make the foam flowers. I've just done myself another little foam flower there and some leaves. So we're just going to pop that into place. This time I'll just bring in my glue gel for quickness. And then we can just pop that onto here.
Rosalind says common horse coat colours are sorrel, bay, palomino, dun, dapple grey, buckskin, rowan, paint, Appaloosa, grey, chestnut and black. That's interesting. And Lillian's given us a random fact. People in apartment blocks in Switzerland are not allowed to flush the loo after 10 p.m.
In apartment blocks?
Yeah, I suppose because it's too noisy and disruptive to other people. I have a friend that lives in Switzerland. I hope she doesn't get poorly in the night, because that could be, not a very nice sort of situation, is it?
I mean, how can they? I mean, is it? They're not allowed to. I mean, it can't be against the law.
Well, I know you couldn't have the police coming over and say, "I'm sorry, but you appear to have got up in the middle of the night and flushed your loo." But I suppose if it's noisy. Maybe it's older apartment blocks or I don't know. Interesting.
Very strange.
Or keep them coming in. Oh, look at that.
And there we go. There's our beautiful stallion, I think is definitely what he is. Or it could be a female horse. We keep referring to him as Paul, but he could definitely be female, couldn't he?
He could, absolutely he could.
Could be a Maggie or someone.
Maggie the horse.
Maggie the horse.
Or was it called Champion? Champion the Wonder Horse.
Champion the Wonder Horse.
Yeah. Brilliant. I think that looks really, really lovely. Now, the next thing we're going to have a look at are our Illustrator pens. So we've got a special deal with these. So a 4-pack, you get 36 pens. Platinum price is £59.19 or $89.59. And so if I go through the colours, you can see what they will look like. So we've got a whole mixture here. So we've got the delicate ones. So these very sort of pretty kind of colours, but great for sort of hues on your skin, that kind of colour. Then you've got your vintage with some really pretty purples in there, as well as some creams. The next one is your verdant, so lots of greens in there, really great for sort of foliage and that kind of thing. Then we have your aquatic, so all those beautiful blues for doing sort of water and sort of sea sort of scapes, that kind of stuff. Then you've got natural again, so you've got some tones in there for sort of skin tones, but also great for if you're going to be doing sort of trees, like you saw Debbie doing earlier on with those flowers that she was working on. Then we have stylish, so you've got sort of greys and reds in there as well. Then we've got basics, so not actually your sort of standard basic colours, because you've got a purple in there, but you know, your reds, your bright yellows and bright blue. And then you've got your essentials here, so your sort of beige and blacks, and also your blender. And then finally you've got your botanical, so all those sort of pretty colours that you could be using doing sort of flowers. These would be really great if you're going to be doing things like those birds of paradise kind of things, or if you're going to be using our interchangeable scene dyes, where you've got all of those kind of jungle shapes and things. So this is a great offer, £37.59 platinum price or $56.79 on those. Then we've also got our ink pads. So these are the ones that are going to be great for your interchangeable scene dyes. So all sorts of different colours. So this one here is the, I can't see that, but that's a Bordeaux. I can't read that bit. This is your midnight colour here. Then we've got orange. These are all slightly out of order. Then we've got plum jam. That's a lovely colour. I really like that sort of deep purple kind of colour here. We've got pure white over here. Then we've got seal brown. In fact, these are the ones I've got at home. We've got burgundy here. We've got damson wine, really sort of dark purpley kind of colour. Grasshopper and lagoon, this one here. So these platinum price is £37.59 or $56.79. So these are to be used with which kind of stamps, any kind of stamps that we have. And if you're going to be using these, what kind of inks would you be using? What kind of Spectrum Noir pens would you be using? The alcohol ones or the sort of aqua blends? Debbie?
I'm sorry.
Just tuned out. Becky's chatting.
I'm going to be absolutely honest. I was not listening to a word you were saying, Becky. Hands up. Sorry.
Debbie, I said if you listen to me, I'm going to give you £1 million. You've missed out. You've missed out. No, I was saying with these inks.
Yes.
Are these you can use these with any of the stamps that we have?
Yeah.
But what kind of pens would you be using when you stamped on this?
So these are what we class as our heat emboss inks.
Right.
The ink stays wetter for longer.
Right.
So you would have to heat emboss them to be able to colour onto them.
Okay.
Once you can then heat emboss them any colour, so you can watercolour, alcohol colour, anything you want to colour inside them, that's fine. You can, however, you leave them to dry and you can use just your inks on them. Just be careful because they could bleed. They are a pigment ink, which means that the colours of them as well will stay like forever. They don't fade because they're not a natural, they're natural sourced, not handmade, man-made. So
lovely.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And you've got another demo for us?
I certainly have, yes. I was working out what I was going to do with my flowers when you talked to me. And actually, I'm normally very clued into what you're saying, but I also go away with the fairies as well sometimes. So there you go. Okay, let's bring in, we're going to do a different type of card now, using that Grande or ornate lace, this one. What I love about this design is the fact that you can use use any piece of card and it will cut into your card, not out. So I've took a piece of card and I've put just a 1/2 inch border. I'll give you the measurements. So it's 6.5 by 7, and then I've just done that 1/4 inch, which makes it 6 inches by 7. And then all we're going to do is, I'm just going to check, I just gave you, so yes, that's right, so 6 inches by 7, 6.5. And we're going to use our die to go down the side on both sides. So you're just going to position your die on the edge. I'm going to do it right where, so because this top edge is going to cut along there, so it will cut that top edge slightly in. So where your line is, you go just slightly above. You'll be able to, it almost locks into that line. You can sort of feel it, it's not moving. And then I'm just taking it across to where I get my die cut on the end there. And then we're going to place our low tack tape in 2 different places just to keep that into our card. So right on there and on that one as well. And then we can run that through. So just placing that into the machine, pop that down.
I have an update on the horse.
Sorry?
Going back to the horse.
Oh yes,
An
back to
update
the
on
horse.
So Wanda said, Limpizan horses are born black or grey or brown and turned totally white by 10 years old.
Wow.
Wow, that's quite spectacular to see.
Yeah.
So Paul must be Lipizian.
Lipizian?
I think that's the way you say it. I'd never heard that before, but that would be amazing to see that horse growing up and changing colours, wouldn't it?
Well, I suppose that's so, I know this is a little bit, but my son was, when he was born, his hair, when he grew it, was really blonde. He was a real blondie, and he now has dark brown hair. So maybe that's the same sort of process, isn't it? So, and a lot of people say like that they were that colour when they were born, and then they sort of go darker. Right, so we've done our first one. So gently pull that out. Oh, I've got my my tape on there, so I'm just going to take that away. Now, where you, just because that's taped, and I'll keep it in the die so you can see, where that cuts, all you need to do is just trim that little excess off, and then you'll be the same on the top piece. We just want to trim that down as well, and then we can take that out. There we go, lay that down. So our beautiful cut. There we go. So that's one side, and it still keeps this in there. Then what you want to do, now just so you don't got to watch me take all the pieces out again, let's give it a tap so most of it will come out. It's all those little bottom pieces that get stuck in. Do exactly the same on this side. So you will line it up, pop that down there, let that sort of lock into place, move that across, so you've just got this thin border down the middle. So once you've done that, you will then end up with, let me just grab these pieces. You will then have your card like this. So that will have your top little section here, and then that will have your 2 corner parts. I mean, that in itself as a topper is beautiful.
Really lovely.
And when you think like, I don't know, I mean, I've done it myself before. I've made my own table mats. You could make yourself a table mat and put these on each side. So you've had almost like a little table runner that you could put. You could use these as bands around your napkins.
Yeah,
so
that's
napkin
exactly
holder.
what I thought of, yeah.
So when you're doing all little pieces, you could even do it then as one with your name place. You could do a little name place.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to take it into home decor, you could absolutely do that, which is one of the reasons I wanted to do this style of card, to show you all those differences. Then we're going to be bringing in our card base. So a card base that will go onto. Now, when this is measured out, once you have this, your actual card, let me turn this round. So your card here will go onto the front. I have measured my card to 7 inches by 6 inches, and that will then go over the front of that beautiful card and then just go into place onto there. I then took some of this beautiful card. So this is Sarah's Dragonfly. Absolutely stunning collection. So we're going to use our glue to pop this into place. So a nice little different card to do, but looks really effective.
It's very elegant, that kind of, that crown, Becky's crown.
Becky's
ornate lace.
crown. It's always going to be Becky's crown
It is,
now.
definitely. It's sort of very elegant looking die, isn't it?
Now, you can be more frugal with your cardstock, so please make sure you cut out the middle of that card so you're not wasting all that card. I just wanted to give that a nice sort of darker edge and bring all those beautiful colours into play. And then we're going to pop that on our front. Now, you could, however, actually, we could pop that, which I think I'm going to do behind, and then we can hide our workings. So I'm just going to pop that into place. That's it. Oop, tip and glue over myself now. And then over the top. So then, when we come to put in that whole section, that will glue itself into place. And then bring that one in. Make sure that's down.
So do remember we have our Sea and Sun sale going on. If you have a look at the website, you can get up to sort of 60% off some bundles. So it's definitely worth having a look. There may be something that you've been waiting for it to come on into the sale. So definitely have a look. We have different things every day. So this is going to carry on until the 3rd of July. So it's worth checking out the website and having a look at the special offers we've got for you. That is beautiful, Debbie.
Yeah, it looks lovely, and those nice bright colours out there, and then you've got your hidden sort of panel that's moving a bit, so you'd be really careful till that's dried. And in fact, let me just get rid of some of that glue, otherwise it's going to glue itself together. This is the good thing with Kalau, is because you can
I can see what you mean. It's almost coming off a little bit like that. You know, that almost sort of rubberized glue that you used to get as a kid, you know, with the brush.
Yes, it's also like where they put things, they glue like tabs, like your credit cards and things, where they glue them to the thing. It's like that, like those glue blobs. That's what it's like. So it just brushes away.
That's
and
genius.
And it doesn't mark your card, so it's really good. So now that will close beautifully, and you can just open and close. And then when you look on the back, you haven't got any markings of where you've put it. So there we go. That's that one. Then we've got our, oh, I've got my glue stuck to all my leaves here. Look, I'm getting in a right mess here, Becky. Right, let's bring in our flowers. So we didn't make any flowers before, so let's bring in the die that does those, and we will cut some out. So I want you to see how they cut out beautifully. So let's use our darker one. And these ones.
And these flower dies, they've almost got a little, almost teeth around the edge, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
They're not sort of a smooth cut, almost a little bit like a carnation, you know, as an actual flower.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. And I've got my flowers already made, but I've done the sort of same flowers throughout the show. So I wanted to show you how you can make them different. So let's pop them onto there and send them through. Now I've done 4 layers of the foam flowers. You can do 6, but I always think 4 is a good amount to get them apart, because when you go up to 6, it really squashes them together to cut them, because we're only talking about a thin metal die. But what will happen, it compacts them, but you sort of give them a flick and then you can sort of take them apart then. But to be able to cut out 4 in one pass is amazing. And it gets you on then to the exciting bit of being creative and making them into the flowers that you want them to be. So let's take these ones apart, and then we can use our iron to do some bits with these. Now this time it takes that a little bit longer, but it's always worth it to try out that different flower. So I'm going to bring in my sponge pad that Becky was showing you earlier. I'm going to bring in my bigger tool one. It's the one I use the most because I also like the smaller one that's on the bottom as well. So what we are going to do is start off with our bigger ones, and we are going to do exactly the same. This time when it drops off, while it's still hot, I'm just going to bring our petals together, so 2 and 2 together, fold them in half, and then you just fold your other one into it, and then we're going to sort of roll it. Now I haven't got my tool here, but if you just sort of manipulate the petals, give them sort of a roll in your hand. What it does is it makes them like real petals. So then we can use our ball tool to shape those petals over the side. So just be gentle. You'll know if you're being too, because it will literally put a slit into the actual leaf. So just be gentle to start with to see how much, and the hotter it is, the more pliable it is. And then all we're going to do is use our small ball tool to go in and pop that down into there. And then I'm just going to leave that one to cool down, and then we can start doing that with the others.
That's
So,
really
yeah.
lovely. Lillian said, I wonder how many changes of crown Becky had on her birthday. I didn't actually wear a crown because I was on the tube with my daughter, and she's 20. And well, I should have done, because I like embarrassing her as much as I possibly can. So I quite often sing while I'm on the tube, because that mortifies her. But she said I couldn't wear my crown. So very sad. Anne said, Lipanzas are those fancy horses that do the dancing at the Spanish riding school in Vienna. I know what you mean now, I understand. Stacey says, well, Lipanza stallions tour around the country doing all kinds of fancy prancing and tricks. They're amazing.
Is that dressage?
No, I think more than that. They sort of do more kind of tricks, don't they? So I suppose it's a little bit like dressage.
I thought dressage, well, it's dancing horses,
Yeah,
isn't it?
but they always wear, you know, sort of quite, the riders wear quite crazy clothes, don't they? Or they're quite super, I don't know, I think the ones in the Vienna, they tend to have ribbons on them, don't they? They're all sort of decorated horses.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Have to see some pictures of those, I think. I love the way that you can do so many different things with these flowers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so if you just want the simple, you lay them on the iron, you pop them together, and you've just got those sort of nice moulded petals. But I love this technique. I think you could sit here, I would sit for an evening and just make lots of flowers like this, or lots of petals, and then you can make them into flowers. And what I also love about foam flowers is the more you make, the more petals you make, the bigger your flower becomes. And it gets really realistic. And I think that's something that we want to try and achieve when we're making flowers. But I love the fact that just having it react to heat like they do, we do, in my opinion, some of the best foam sheets out there. And it's so good to use. And having the dyes, but we also do foam with dyes, and people think then they can't make them with with just normal cardstock. But actually it's not the case, it's just giving you another medium to use with the dyes. These would make great flower dyes in any medium that you're using them in. You don't even have to pull all those petals. I could just leave that one just to have that sort of shape, push that into your sort of foam so you can
And it
then
makes it more realistic, doesn't it? Because you know, flowers aren't always symmetrical. They aren't always perfect. You want some, some petals that don't quite open and that bend the wrong way to make them look more real.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we do a distresser. I'm not sure if that's still on the website.
Yeah, we have got that.
Oh, we have got it on the show. I don't have it to hand to use, but I'm pretty much sort of doing it, not as well, but you can do it with your fingers. But it's absolutely brilliant. I've never seen anything like it on the market, so it is definitely one to add into your basket if you.
And this is effectively kind of a mat with some ridges in it, and then you sort of roll the petals onto it. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So like you were doing earlier, but just you've got sort of slight ridges along this, which would just add to that kind of distressed look. So it makes them look a lot more realistic. So this is in a bundle available today with those ball tools. So the price is $14.99 or $19.95. That's your platinum price for those.
Yeah, which is so good. And also, what I love about this, you only really need a mini machine. So if you wanted to get someone into a new hobby, a little Gemini Junior, or a little Gemini, mini machine, and some flower dyes and some foam would get them straight into a really lovely little hobby. Right, let's stop at them and do those, otherwise we're going to run out of time. And we're just, this time what I'm going to do is to, I haven't got any stamens, which is such a shame. And I mean stamens as in the ones that you poke through. So I do just have to put them one on top of the other. So let's bring in my glue gun and we'll just start to layer these on.
Rosalind said you're inspiring her today to pull out her edibles.
Lovely,
It's
yes.
always nice to be inspired.
Absolutely. And actually, isn't it nice that we can be inspired by other collections?
Yeah.
Because lots of our collections have things like create a card, edgeables in them. Yeah, I mean, most people know edgeables are my thing. I love them. I could just spend all day just doing different concepts with them. I love them. So let's pop that in. And all we're doing is building up our flower and creating a completely different shape this time to what we did before, which is quite nice because I'm going to add 3 flowers onto our middle section. Now you can use your little ball tool as well, so if we pop that back onto our foam, you can then sort of go in and really just push that down, and then what will happen there is that will all sort of stay together, and then it gives you that sort of more fluffy sort of flower. And then all I've done is I've already folded this one in half. We're just going to turn this round and put our stamens. I now know what I did with the stamens before. Do you know I said I had an extra bit that was sticking up? It's because I wound it up the wrong way. I wound the longest bits first in.
Right.
They've got shorter end and a longer end.
Right.
So you want to put your longer end, leave that till last. So all I'm going to do, in fact I've got too much here, so I'm going to just trim it off because I only want a few stamens in the centre. I'm just going to pop that inside and then pop that in the middle, just to give us those little stamens inside, so that gives us a flower. So look how different that looks. And then if I bring in these ones, fingers and thumbs, look how different they look using the same
and from
flowers.
same dyes.
So yeah, so completely different but the same leaves, just doing them 2 different ways. So let's pop those to the side, and then we'll bring back in our card. And then I've also got a, where is it? There we go. For a special friend. Also in that collection, you've got those little mini ones. So I've just cut out some mini dies, so little ones here.
But you wouldn't bother using the heat on those. I suppose they just shrivel to nothing, wouldn't they? They're so tiny.
Yes, they are tiny. Yeah, you wouldn't need to put heat onto them, no. So I've got glue stuck everywhere. And then all we're going to do, I'm going to go back in with my 3D glue gel. Let's pop that larger one in the centre. So we'll pop that just onto there. And then we'll have our other 2 on the sides. And then all we want to do is I want to just add little touches of these around. So let's put one in there. And I have got gems, but I'm not going to stick the gems on. I have got some, a finished one, but it just shows you how these look when you put them together. And then we've just got our, I want to put them down a bit, don't I? Pop that down, that one down.
That's the beauty with that gel glue, isn't it? Being able to move everything.
Sorry, Becky.
That's the beauty of that gel glue, isn't it? Being able to move
can move
things.
them, absolutely. So we're just going to pop that on the top, and also we're just adding some leaves to finish that one off. So again, you've got all those leaves. Let's just grab some and finish them off.
And you don't use any heat on the leaves?
You can, so I haven't done, because they're quite fiddly if you start doing them, and they just take a long while. So I figured, actually, they're not, you don't need to. I just think they're nice to have. They make a nice effect if you do, but it's absolutely not needed. And we're just going to pop some of these in. And it's just a case of positioning them wherever you think the leaves should go. You can sort of tuck them in, you can overlap them. And I think a lot of the time it is positioning of where you want things to go to how your card finally turns out. And there we go. I think we'll leave that at that. If I turn that around, just going to straighten that one up. And then that will just stand beautifully at the front there. There
stunning.
we go.
That's really, really pretty.
Yeah, it's
like
really
that a lot.
pretty,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Really nice.
Oh, the wind's blowing.
We've got a lot of fans in the studio, so things do fly around. So that is your Belle Countryside. So that is your 10-piece selection. And so this is a mixture of different dies, stamps, embossing folders. You've got your flower forming foam, and you've got your cardstock here. So if I flick through and show you what you're going to be getting. So you've got this beautiful embossing folder here. This is a floral lace embossing folder. So you saw earlier on using some of that gilding wax on there. Looks really, really spectacular. Becky's Crown, or otherwise known as ornate lace. This is a die that is so versatile. You could use this for so many different things. Then you've got your, this will put everything upside down again. Let me move this way. So we've got your luminaires and lanterns stamp set. So with those sentiments, as well as those lovely little stamps that are great for sort of just practicing your colouring. Then you've got your equine elegance. So this is your die and stamp set with that fabulous, no, we didn't say it was Palomino, albino bird, what's it called? White horse, with your die there, and also your sentiments. Paul. Yeah, it's a lot easier just to say Paul. Statement floral, so that is this die with your stamp as well, so you can cut into that, and you've also got your sentiments in there as well. Then you've got this large Grande frame, your stamp and die set here as well. Again, great for using this with this whole collection. And then finally, you've got your country home, the country home we all want to live in, with this beautiful thatched cottage, so great for retirements and new home bits and pieces. You'll also be getting your dies here. So these are the dies that Debbie's been using throughout the day. These are your flower dies that are great for cutting out of your foam, but also great out of your cardstock. And you'll also be getting your cardstock and your foam here. So in all those beautiful colours, all those sort of muted tones that are going to work really, really well in this collection. But if you don't have, you do want this collection and you're keen to have it, but you need some paper pads, we do have some paper pads which would be great for you. So the first one is Country Lane. So again, lots of florals in here, really, really pretty. And as with all of these paper pads, they are double printed, double-sided, so you're going to have different patterns on the other side. So you've got these sort of very busy kind of florals here, and then on the rear, you can see from the back here, you've got some other sort of more muted designs here. If I flick through, which way am I doing it? No, not that way, this way. No, that way. I don't know, this way. I'm going to do it this way. You can see all of those different patterns. So you can see you've got some very sort of big florals here that are going to work really well as your background card, great for scrapbooking as well. And then at the top, you've got sort of more muted on the rear. You've got this sort of more muted tones. So these sort of wood effect, this kind of panelling, which works so well with sort of male-orientated cards. Lots of sort of gold flecks in here. So a really beautiful collection in that one. And that one in particular is one of my favourites. I think that looks absolutely lovely. So you're going to be getting 36 double-sided sheets. That's a 12 by 12 pad. The next one is the Vintage Butterflies. Again, you're going to be getting all of these fabulous papers in here. I can never remember which way to do it. So you can see here, all your butterflies, so great for fussy cutting if you want to do something like that, but I always think these are great for box making as well. And you've got sort of script on here as well, so little bits of flecks of gold. So again, very pretty, and these are going to work really, really well with that Belle Countryside collection as well. And then the final one is the Secret Garden. This one has been the one that you've been most interested in. So this one has got some manuscript kind of paper in here as well, with lots of these pretty florals again. All those colours that you are going to love to use. This one really does remind me of looking through like a cookery book that belonged to a lady out in the country, you know, sort of scribbles of, you know, how she's created her cooking, her jams and that kind of thing, with all those really beautiful florals in here, in those lovely colours, the pinks, the purples and the oranges as well. So this one is £10.19 or $13.56. So definitely well worth popping into your bag. Now, we do have, remember, we've got this special deal on, which is the Sea and Sun sale. So that is, if you have a look at the website, we have different items available for you. So you can get up to 60% off on those, and we have different deals every day going up until the 3rd of July. So it's definitely worth having a look. So all the information is down at the bottom of the screen. So just have a look at the website and see which special deals we've got for you. So next thing, I'm just going to have a look. My iPad's not working, so I'm having to use my phone. Sandra said, Becky, it's a parent's primary purpose to embarrass their teens. I think you're absolutely right. I think we all like to embarrass our teens. Rosalind says, lovely card, Debbie. Natty, beautiful card. Absolutely gorgeous card, Debbie, from Mary. Cute card, Debbie. Mary Beth said, love all of today's demos, Debbie. And Rosalind says, great show, ladies. We need to do the vote.
Absolutely,
Yep.
yeah. So we've got 5 to choose from. So a bit of a tough one because they're all so beautiful, I think. Number 1, I've put that onto now a card, so you can see it's standing lovely there. I actually love that card, the simplicity of it. Number 2, we've got our beautiful gatefold, half gatefold one. Number 3, we've got our bridge card, which I absolutely love, that silver gilding wax on. Number 4, we've got the horse again there. And then number 5, the last one we just did with those beautiful foam flowers. So 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5.
I'll tell you what, Debbie, you are on fire today, aren't you? 10 cards in 2 shows.
Yes,
It's fantastic.
wow.
And very, very difficult to choose between all of those because
Yes.
you've got so many different items on there.
I think on a masterclass it is very difficult to choose between them because they're all similar in what they are, but each one offers something a little bit different, which is lovely.
Really nice. I like that collection a lot. So if you are interested in those kind of colours, those kind of tones, we also have the Nitwit collection. So we have a set of card here. So this is sort of greens, blues, pinks, and also this kind of dark teal kind of colour. So quite bright colours. So against those kind of muted hues that we've had on those colours, but these are sort of a little bit brighter. So this is a pack. So you've got $19.99 in platinum price or $24.79. So you're going to get the pack of card, but you're also going to get the paper pad here as well. So the paper pad has, again, all of those colours. So it's going to work perfectly with all of this cardstock that you've got here. If I flick through, you can have a look at some of the designs. So you've got some really bright pinks, bright greens, bright blues. You've got some sort of muted colours on the back. So this is a double printed or double sided paper pad like we tend to bring to you. So really nice sort of pinstripes as well. All those sort of florals as well. That one's lovely. That almost like a harlequin design that you've got on the top here. Oh, that piece didn't want to stay in the little pack, but you can see all of those different colours here. So great price for you at £19.99 platinum price or $24.79. We also have from the Nitwit collection, we have the flower forming. So we have dies. We've got dies here. So if I show you the back, actually, it's probably easy to see at the back those shapes of those different dies. So these are all going to work with any kind of flower forming foam that you have, but we're also going to be giving you these pieces of flower forming foam in the pack. So it's £15.19. That's $18.39 if you're platinum member, and they are very, very pretty. And as you see, you can use these in different ways. Now, Debbie made 2 very different types of flowers out of one single die. Again, you could do the same sort of thing with any of these. So if you're keen on doing your flower forming, this is definitely something to be doing, to be putting in your basket. So next show, we've got shadow boxes for the next show, haven't we? Which is quite exciting. I've seen these once before, and I think they're really great. And obviously, Debbie demonstrated those before. Really great item for you to start making something a little bit different. And of course, you could use them for your home decor, or you could be using them for making an ordinary card. So they're quite versatile, aren't they, Debbie?
Yeah, they're beautiful. I love them. I just think because you can make so many different things out of them. I've known people to make some shadow boxes so they can put a recipe card down them and have them up in the kitchen. You can have them on the walls. You can make them into little drawer units. Loads of things you can do with them, which is amazing. And there's 2 different sizes, I believe, which or is there 3? I think there's only 2.
We've got 3.
There is 3.
Yeah,
so
3.
all 3, or have we just got 2
We've got
in stock?
2. Yeah, we've got 3 different ones.
We have got 3 different ones. I wasn't sure if the slimline one was still in stock, but it obviously is. So yeah, 3 different ones. So
So the vote is in.
Oh.
Do you know, can you guess which one it was? Which one would you think it was going to be?
I think possibly 5, but maybe 3.
You were right with 5. 5 is the winning
Yes, it's
card.
very
Not
pretty.
surprised. They are all absolutely stunning, but that one in particular, I think using that flower forming foam in a different kind of way for creating those are really, really interesting.
Yeah, really pretty. And that it just shows how versatile that die is. It's amazing.
Absolutely. No, definitely. So in the next show, we're going to be showing you more of these shadow boxes. So here are your dies for the shadow box. So this is the 5x7. Now, you saw Debbie using these earlier today. They are so versatile. You're getting so much for your money. So you're getting lots of these different shapes in here. So you're getting these nesting dies as well as the overall box making dies and all of those little embellishments around the outside. So that is the 5x7. Then this is the 6x4. Again, really, really intricate. I mean, this one here with the beautiful kind of almost fretwork that you've got here, you could be using this for all sorts of different things, not just for these shadow boxes. There's lots of options for you can be doing on this. And then finally, we've got the slimline one. Again, you've got your nesting dies in there. You've got those beautiful corners, 4 different types of corners. So you'll be using those for all sorts of different things. Again, not just this box. They're very, very versatile. And I do like the fact that we are giving you something that you can use for lots of different types of things. So this is £77.59 and $86.80. So that is well worth having. Now the next thing we have are, we've got our Grande edgeable dies as well. So these are going to be coming up in the next show. So you saw some of these earlier on. You've got your elegant trellis, you've got this gingham lace one as well. You've got your balloon flowers, your rose garden, your elegant daisy chains, and your chasing dragonflies. So you'll be seeing a little bit more of those little birds. So that's it from us for this show. We're going to have a little bit of a break, aren't we? Yeah,
yes.
maybe have a little bit of birthday cake while we have a cup of tea. But hopefully we'll see you all back later on for Creative Cravings. We'll be back at 6 p.m. later on tonight. Thanks very much. Bye.